Good afternoon, everybody. This is HRAP-B. This is Build and Destroy. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure entertaining you the last few weeks. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you've had a great day. And hope I can add to it. As I do before each one of my shows, I'd like to acknowledge my ancestors. It's taught to me that, first time listener, it was taught to me that once you acknowledge your ancestors, they send up blessings and respect to them. They send down blessings and protections to you. So let me proceed by acknowledging the people in my family as well as the people who have crossed over to the other side, my ancestors. The names Whitmore, Pollard, Turner, Battle, Cotton, Harper, Bailey, Chris, Lansdowne, Liggins, Duncan, and of course, me and my siblings, my mom, my grandparents, we are the Williams clan. We are in the building. Thank you for tuning in as usual. I may have a guest coming. He hasn't reached out to me as of yet, but we shall see. In the event that he does not, we will have an outstanding program. We will get things cracking. And remember, this is the Build and Destroy podcast. The reason I remind you it's a podcast because there's no way for you to miss my show. I get it frequently. I missed your show. That's not possible. The reason it's not possible is because you can catch it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on Spreaker.com or the following locations. You can find me on Spreaker.com. You can go to YouTube at Build for This Network. You can go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify. You can go to iHeartRadio. You can go to Google Podcasts. You can go to Castbox. These are Podcast Addict or wherever you download your podcasts. You can also go to www.theendofthebench.com. Again, that is www.theendofthebench.com. That is where every show that I have ever done is been logged. It is on my website. The website has been up and functioning for quite some time. I get a lot of traffic. You miss my show, you can simply just go to my website and go to the part where the player is, and you can listen to any of my shows over the last 4.5 years. So every show has been documented there. So if you can't ever say you missed my show, because you can always go, and I just put it in the chat room, www.theendofthebench.com. That's the link. You'll get it. Enjoy the content. Now, what I like to say is thank you for joining in. It has been a true pleasure to continue to do this. Again, my guest hasn't reached out to me, but in regards to just being a citizen in America, that's what the show will be about until my guest appears or until you call in at number 773-797-2409. I'll just put it in the chat room as well. I want to shout out to everybody who's tuning in, everybody who's listening in the background. It is a true pleasure to bring you this information and hopefully uplift your day. Now, what I want to do is start off with this. We have had an insane week. I swear to God, we have had an insane week. And it has been quite the eye-opening week, if you ask me. A lot of people, I hope, got their eyes open this week. Oh, really over the last 14 days. And it's kind of scary, and then it's not. It's not scary about the people coming at you. Because if you know anything about your history, these people have been coming at you for the last 400 years. And when you're living under direct tyranny for a 400-year period, nothing should come to a surprise to you. Nothing should be a surprise. And the reason I say nothing should be a surprise is because you've been living this life 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and nothing has changed. So why does these things surprise you? I've been beating this dead horse about engaging in civics for quite some time now. And a lot of people, they've taken it lightly. You have people trying to quote unquote be open-minded. And what is that really ultimately gonna get you? That's gonna net you incarceration. It's gonna net you containment. It's gonna net you a bad situation. The reason I'm speaking in such extreme terms is when you look at the President of the United States and his rhetoric, when you look at the Vice President of the United States and his rhetoric, and you look at the people who are underneath the government, the quote unquote government, and that structure, you have to simply say, hey man, what's really going on? You're supposed to have legislative, judicial, and executive branch, 3 separate but equal branches working congruently to make sure things in the country work right. But at this point, we have a president who stands in a bully pulpit and attempts to sick people on other people in the departments. You got a president threatening to arrest Hillary Rodham Clinton, arrest Barack Hussein Obama, and arrest other people. But this is the same guy that won't denounce pure evil. And the sad part is, and I'm not even talking about the people on TV, I'm talking about the people in the community. These folks call themselves progressive thinkers, and they're fed up with anything. They're fed up with everything, and these people haven't done anything. But I've never seen a point in history where a large amount of people from our community were outly committing to white nationalism. From my perspective, white nationalism has been the very best friend to black empowerment. That sounds crazy. White nationalists are the very best friend to black empowerment. Why I say that is this. When you see the access of evil uniting and forming against you, your natural inclination should be to unite with like-minded and like-thinking people so you can protect yourself. And I got friends, family members, and other people standing around going, hey man, but what about what he said on this end? But those same people will call our ancestors silly and foolish in 1968 for voting for George Wallace, the governor of Alabama, who was a staunch racist. Well, we're going to side with them and make things okay. Never mind the stuff that he's saying and his track record. What about when this guy did this? And this guy, at this point, at this juncture, is Joe Biden. Joe Biden signed the crime bill. Well, the Congressional Black Caucus was up with that. Most black people were up with that. What the United States federal government at that point in time did, let's just be honest. From the moment that the whole world had their eyes focused on crack cocaine in 1986, when the future professional basketball player Len Bias terminated from an overdose of crack cocaine, he had a heart attack, up until they signed that crime bill in the early 90s. They ran that crack thing right down our throats. You got people who were big time contributors in the crack trade, like the real Rick Ross, freeway Rick Ross. Good thing Dale ain't in the show yet. And they say they worked with people who were working with the federal government. You saw Oliver North testify that the drugs were being pushed in our community via him and government officials. And then you get people at the height of their fear, and then you talk them into something that seems like it's beneficial to the entire program. Because all you have to do is scare the hell out of somebody, then offer them an alternative, and they'll take that alternative versus being scared to death. And that's just the way things work in this criminal enterprise called the United States of America. It works that way. I'm sorry. For all y'all that's in love with the country, I get it, man. It's cool. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with feeling the way you feel. I'm not gonna say it's nothing wrong with the way you feel, because I think it is something wrong with the way you feel. But there's nothing wrong with having your own opinion. You can disagree with me. You can agree with me. You can go along with the program. You can do whatever you want. I understand. It's cool. But these are the facts. And when you have people who doing their very best to fight your best interest, and then they're short-sighted. We all are short-sighted at some point, therefore you can't really blame them and get mad at them and so you should have known better. Nah, because nobody has seen the likes of the crack epidemic before. Maxine Waters, she was with it. C. Dolores Tucker, she was up with it. A few ancestors who recently transitioned, they were up with it, and it was uncharted territory. And at that point in our lives, we still assumed that the best way to handle a criminal problem was to incarcerate it as long as possible. But you have to understand that in itself is evil, because if you know anything about your history, there's nowhere in African law from the day one until the day they were colonized. Most of those countries over there were colonized. There's nothing in the African language that says jail. See, in African history, the way to punish a wrongdoer was to exile them. The worst thing you can do to somebody is not allow them to be around you or be around the community when they do something, commit an atrocity. See, this is jail is a Western concept or European concept, because, hey, you got to get out of here. When Cain killed Abel, God didn't put him in jail. He said you got to lead the flock. So us not knowing our history, didn't realize, when you see somebody committing an atrocity, you don't put them in a cage like some animal. You ostracize them. You do away with them. And then hopefully they can regain their footing in the community. I mean, your Bible tells you that. This ain't H-rap. This guy, like the man said, and Malcolm X, these guys this ain't no hustle. But when you are living this situation and in total fear, you do what you think is going to protect you and your family. So what you do? You assume the position of a person who's going to get rid of this scourge in our community. We're going to get rid of these bad people, because we assume every criminal. We don't, when you're in fear, you don't think the thing through. You just want to know who gave this guy the gun. You just want this guy to stop shooting the gun. You don't want to know who gave him the gun. You're not thinking about, well, how did he get the gun? I need that gun to be gone and that person to be gone so my people be safe again. And that's where we are right now. We in a panic, and we're not thinking things through. You're trying to be diplomatic, but again, this is a criminal enterprise, y'all. And once you buy into white supremacy and white nationalism, it's hard to get out of it. And a lot of us have bought in and don't even realize we bought in. Because we built this. We built this country. You built a criminal enterprise. That's what you're proud of. See, because you bought into the concept of I'll play the game and then I'll become victorious. Well, we've seen time and time again that's not the case. You must disengage fully to the game and follow as many rules as possible. Render unto Caesar. I'm going to keep quoting that Bible because a lot of us, our feelings are stoked inside of that Bible. But again, it's not a mythical, magical book. Shout out to my pastor, Reverend James Dodd III. It's a book of history. It's a book of science. It's a book of astrology. It's a book of faith. It's a book of